Hello everyone. Today I am going to be talking about GeoGebra, which is interactive math software that has features for geometry, algebra, statistics, and calculus. Really, this is a great resource for both teachers and students. Teachers can kind of teach students how to use GeoGebra, use some of the resources for class activities and other things. And it can also be beneficial for students just to kind of investigate on their own or use it to help them with their homework or other things like that. So I'm going to show you kind of the basic features of GeoGebra today and some of the resources that they offer on their website. One nice thing about GeoGebra is that it is a web application as well as software that you can actually download onto your computer. So as you can see right now, I am on the web application, which is just geogebra.org. But if you click on the little guide over here, you can scroll down and click on app downloads, and this is going to show you everything that you can download from GeoGebra. So all of these apps are free to download. The web application is also free to use, and the nice thing about the applications are that they don't require the internet to run. So if you have students that don't have access to internet at home, it's okay. They can still access the application and use all of its features. So as you can see, there are quite a few different things you can download here. So this is just going to be a basic graphing calculator. Like it says, you can graph functions, investigate equations, plot data. Then there's a geometry tool, which is for geometry constructions. There is an augmented reality app, a 3D calculator. This one is really helpful for calculus. And then there are the two different classics, GeoGebra Classic 6 and Classic 5. Classic 6 is just the newer updated version. And essentially the Classic has all of these features in one. So if you download this, you're getting all of these different things, except not the augmented reality. That one is its own thing as of now. So as you can see up here, the apps can be downloaded on both iPhones and Androids, which is really nice. Some of the features are a little harder to use on a phone, but it is better than nothing if a student doesn't have access to a computer. And then it can also be downloaded on Windows, Mac, Chromebook, and Linux. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull up the GeoGebra application. I have GeoGebra Classic 6 downloaded. Okay, so what we are looking at here is the graphing calculator, and it's really nice because it lets you input different equations just like you would on a normal calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and type in an equation just so we can see what it looks like. Could type in y equals 2x plus 1, and there we'll see it puts my line on the graph. And you can zoom in and zoom out as you would like using these buttons over here. So that's nice when maybe you have some bigger graphs that aren't going to show in this little window, so you can change that. You can also create things on the graph using these buttons up here. So you can simply plot points, find points on an object, do all these different things with points. We have a few different options for lines, segments, rays, perpendicular lines, parallel lines. Then we can actually look at some shapes. Let's say I wanted to create an ellipse and I didn't want to necessarily type in an equation. I can plot the points I need and then drag out to make it as big or as small as I would like it to be. And then what you'll notice is that it actually puts the equation over here for you. So you can either type equations in and see them appear on the graph, or you can create lines and other graphs here, and then the equations will appear for you. There are many other features that I could show you here, but really the best way to learn about these different features is just to get on the application and play around with it, check out all the different things it can do, kind of put yourself in the student's shoes and think about what they would be thinking as they explore this for the first time. Alright, So now let's say we don't want to use the graphing tool, we want to use one of the others. We can click on this bar up here, and you can click here for perspectives, and now you'll see all the different possibilities that we have. So there's graphing, which is what we're on right now, CAS, which is the computer algebra system, so this can manipulate equations. Then we have geometry, which, like I mentioned before, is for geometry constructions. 3D graphics, which is helpful for calculus. Then we have spreadsheet and probability. And then last is exam mode. So exam mode is just essentially a calculator, and you can decide what features it can or cannot use. And it will lock down the computer so that the calculator is all that you can access, which makes it a nice feature if you want your students to be able to access GeoGebra during a test in school. You can also, closing this little perspectives now, you can also save and export, download, or print all of the screens you have. So this is helpful if students are working on an assignment in GeoGebra, but they don't have time to finish it. You can have them save it to their account to access at a later date. Alright, so now we've got the basics there. Let's go ahead and look at another one of the tools. So looking at CAS here, this works really the same as a CAS calculator, similarly to how the graphing calculator works. You'll notice we still do have our graph over here because they both have graphing calculator capabilities. But here I could just type in an expression, let's say 2x plus 4x minus 15.5x. Then I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard, and it evaluates it for me. Then if I click on this, it actually puts it into the next expression for me. So let's say I needed this simplified to do another operation with. Just clicking on it adds it real nicely to the next line so you can continue working with it. Again, this has so many different features that you just want to play around with. You'll notice it also has integrals here, derivatives. So this can also be helpful for calculus. Alright, let's go back to perspectives, and now we'll click to the geometry tool. So again, you'll notice these things are all still here, but I can delete them just by clicking and deleting if I want a fresh slate here. And so what you'll notice with the tool right now is that we just have a blank screen. But clicking this tool right here allows you to change that. So if I want, I can add grid lines. I can add my axes. And for the grid lines, you have a few different options. You have your standard XY. We can look in terms of radians, so our polar units. You have quite a few options for how you want to use this. And so then again, you see these same tools that you saw at the top of the graphing calculator, but now this is nice because we don't necessarily need it on a graph if we're just trying to look at constructions of certain shapes. So let's say I wanted to create, let's create a regular polygon. So I'm gonna plot my points, and then it gives me an option, so it's gonna create a regular polygon, and I can choose how many vertices, which will obviously determine which polygon it is going to create. So I'm gonna say 5 vertices. We're gonna create a pentagon here. And now if I wanted, I can add angles. So if I click angle with given size, notice it'll show me where the angle would need to be to make whatever angle I chose. So you can change that however you want. You can also measure the angles of shapes that you already have created. Again, so many different features. So we're not going to look at all of them today, but I'll let you keep exploring that on your own. Then we also have the 3D graphics tool. So clicking over here, I'm going to go ahead and delete everything we have here. You can also just take them off the screen, so I'm going to do that for now just so they disappear. Alright, so now you see we have a 3D a 3D graph. So you can see we have our X, Y, and Z axis. So again, this works similarly to the normal graphing calculator, but now we're looking in 3 dimensions. So I can either come over here and type in my equations, or I can select the tools to create what I would like on the graph. So here I created a sphere, and then looking over here we have the equation for that sphere. And you can also manipulate it. Even if you created it over here, you can manipulate it using the keys here. So super similar to the graphing calculator, just now 3 dimensions, like I said. Alright, just a couple more tools to look at. So next we're going to look at the spreadsheet. So this is for statistics, and you have a spreadsheet on one side, and again you have the graph on the other side, which you can put your grid lines, axes, whatever you would like there. So there's a few different tools to check out here. It has kind of the basic functions of Excel that you might use for statistics. Then we have probability. So our last tool here, you'll see there's a few different curves you can look at. So we have a normal distribution, exponential, logarithmic, logistic, bunch of different things, and you can type in your different parameters. Then we also have the statistics over here if you want to do different tests. So we've got z-tests, t-tests. Again, so many different functions you can check out. So that about covers what we're going to look at for the downloadable version. I'm going to pop back over to the web application now so we can look at a few different other resources that GeoGebra provides. Alright, so we are back on the website now, and we still have the guide open here. So what I'm going to pop over to first are resources. So here, these are classroom resources and activities that have either been created by GeoGebra, or you can find things that have been created by other people. So as you see here, Tim Brzezinski, he actually works for GeoGebra, so he has a lot of different things on here. And you can search the resources here to find really any activity you could want, K through 12. There are even college resources, like I said, for calculus, statistics and probability. And so you can click on any of these here, and it's going to pull up all those activities. So clicking on trigonometry, you'll see now we have a bunch of trig activities, or again, you can use the search bar to be more specific. You can also create your own resources. So clicking over here on profile, I'm going to show you 2 of the activities that I created. You'll notice this is also where you can create your own, so you would just click here to build your own resources. I'm going to click, I was just trying to play around with it, so I created an activity or kind of an exploration tool for perpendicular and parallel lines. And so I'm going to click on this one. So you'll see what I have done here. Let's get it to open real quick. Okay, so I have created their perpendicular lines, and we have these sliders. So this would be for the standard y equals mx plus b equations. You'll notice here is my b value or my y-intercept, and sliding this is moving my line. And then my slope is going to change, and you'll notice how both of the lines are changing here. So it just took me a few minutes to put this together. This is just a real simple activity, but it just shows you a little bit about what you can do. And so clicking back to these resources, you can also just click here to see your own if you don't want to go all the way back to your profile. But you can share these with students very easily. You can also click to open it in the application. So if I clicked this, it would open it in the downloaded app. And you can also publish it. And so by publishing, you're letting anybody on GeoGebra see it. Then if we click on the news feed, basically these are just updates from GeoGebra about new activities or resources they're offering, as well as new updates to GeoGebra to let you know how they keep improving.